Oh, Ethan, what's up?
Oh, hey, Pratt, did you hear the latest Harvard Youth Poll is out?
That's awesome, tell me more.
Well, for over 20 years, the Harvard Public Opinion Project has been asking important questions to young Americans aged 18 to 29 years old all across the country. This semester, our poll takes an early look at the 2024 presidential race, as well as digging into important issues such as abortion, labor, and political engagement.
That's interesting. What'd you find?
Well, what did we find?
It's still early, but turnout is tracking below the record numbers in the 2020 presidential election. Only 49% of young Americans say they will definitely be voting, down from 57% in the fall of 2019. This drop in engagement is particularly notable amongst young Black and Hispanic Americans, with likely voter numbers dropping 12 points amongst young Black Americans and 16 points amongst young Hispanics over the past 4 years.
Joe Biden is in a tough spot with young voters. In a head-to-head matchup with Trump, he still leads by 11 points among all voters and by 15 points among registered voters. But before the 2020 election, our polling had Biden up 24 points among all voters and 29 points among registered voters. And third parties could prove to be a spoiler for Biden. When potential independent candidates like Cornel West, RFK Jr., and Joe Manchin are considered, Biden's lead over Trump narrows by around 7 to 8 percentage points.
In terms of the issues, young Americans trust Biden more than Trump on abortion, climate change, and democracy. On the economy, however, Trump is trusted more than Biden. Of those polled, the Israel-Hamas war is the issue that young Americans who voted for Biden in 2020 trust him the least on.
The issue of abortion is on the minds of young Americans now more than ever, and not just at the ballot box. Almost 2/3 of young Americans say that access to reproductive health care, including abortion, is important when choosing which state to live in.
And this comes at a time when young Americans are becoming increasingly pro-choice, with 44% now believing that abortion should be legal in all cases, an 11-point increase from 2012. However, 1 in 5 young Americans say they identify as neither, or don't know whether they identify as pro-choice or pro-life.
Now let's talk about the economy. Young people trust Trump more than Biden with strengthening the working class. Even among Democrats, only 53% trust Biden more than Trump with handling the economy. We found a disconnect between America's economy and young people. Despite a majority of young Americans saying that their personal finances are net good, a strong majority of young Americans give America's economy a net bad rating.
Labor politics is back in full swing. Young Americans support unions in the automotive, manufacturing, and healthcare industries, as well as those for teachers and Starbucks employees. The same cannot be said for police unions, though, of which young Americans view favorably only at a rate of 37%. Note that there are stark differences based on party ideology, too. On average, young Democrats support unions at a rate of 30 points higher than young Republicans.
Civic engagement is the foundation of American democracy. But how well do our high schools prepare our young Americans for one of their key civic responsibilities, voting?
As it turns out, only 45% of young Americans feel their high school prepared them for how to register to vote. 38% feel they were taught about voting deadlines. 35% feel prepared to research candidates and issues, and only 33% feel they were taught how to request and submit ballots. These figures remain consistent across age and racial backgrounds. However, reported preparedness for voting is significantly lower for women than for men.
Clearly, U.S. high schools are falling short. This is a big problem because we found that voters who are better prepared in high school are significantly more likely to turn out on election day and be more optimistic about the future.
Even though many young Americans feel unprepared for the voting process, luckily, our poll has found some solutions.
A majority of 18 to 29-year-olds believe that initiatives such as nonpartisan how-to-vote trainings, reminders about deadlines, and nonpartisan voter guides are helpful in deciding whether or not to vote.
And those are just some of the top findings from our fall 2023 Harvard Youth Poll. For more, go to iop.harvard.edu or follow us on social media @HarvardIOP.